She starts calling the police, and my dad starts bombarding the phone with calls, but the phone was on silent, and I didn't know how to turn the phone off silent. My mom had called the police of the airport, and they were about to shut down the airport, not let anyone go in or out. And my heart sunk to my toes. I felt horrible, and it got worse. Hello everybody, welcome back to Thankful Thriftiness. Today I'm going to share with you the story of the one and the only time I've had the police called on me. And allegedly, apparently, almost shut down the St. Louis airport. I did not break any laws. I just made a very not smart decision. I think this story is a valuable one to tell, especially to younger people who are maybe new to the world of texting, and just to show you the severity of how careful you have to be. Big things can happen. This all happened because of one word that I texted somebody. So, here we go. This is a series on Thankful Thriftiness called Tea Time, where I just sit down and have a chat with you guys. I'll drink some tea eventually, but currently my tea is very hot. I have just plain peppermint tea today. No sugar, no cream, nothing, just plain peppermint tea to drown my sorrows in. What are you drinking today? It's kind of a long story, so I should probably start back with how I even got to the airport to begin with. My family is a homeschooling family. My sisters and I were homeschooled most of our lives. I was a homeschool graduate. And when you are homeschooled, it's important to have certain measures in place because there are certain people in this world who don't like it all that much and like to use it as an opportunity to accuse families of doing things that they're not actually doing, but just because they don't agree with them, they want to get them in trouble. So my parents were signed up for something called HSLDA, so Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and it's just something that they have. Never had to use it, never had anything happen, but it's just always good to have there in case there was ever something that went wrong. This organization is super awesome. To start with, the guy who started the whole thing is the lawyer who fought in the Supreme Court for the Colorado cake decorator case. So that was a pretty big deal a little while back, but this is the guy who started this organization. So aside from obviously legally protecting homeschool families, they also have other things going on. I don't know what all, but what we were headed to was something called Generation Joshua. Basically, it's groups of teenagers during elections that go canvassing. Now, it's not campaigning, it's canvassing. Big difference. They take you to an area where an election is very tight, where it's a tight race, and they send you out to go encourage people to get out and vote. It doesn't matter really who they are, you're telling people to please get out and vote. And it was quite fun, and I think it's encouraging for older people to see a younger generation passionate about what they believe in and wanting you to take a step in standing for what you believe in as well. So my mom signed my sister Campbell and I up for this when I was 17. I think she was 15. And she figured they'd send us to somewhere in Lansing. These were midterm elections. This was not a presidential election. And they called her back and said, "Great, we just booked their tickets for St. Louis." And please don't blow up the comment section when I say this, but I will say that it's been known that when these groups of teenagers go places, sometimes elections can actually be somewhat turned or encouraged. Even though we're not even telling people what to vote for, like we don't even go there. We're not supposed to talk about that at all. We're just encouraging people to vote. And let's just say it was St. Louis. It was the year Josh Hawley got elected. So that was pretty awesome. So anyways, although my parents were very surprised, they were good with it. So they said, okay, they helped us pack, helped get us like hiking and walking boots, and got us ready to go. At the time, my mom and dad both had cell phones that were smartphones. Us girls had one single flip phone that we shared. And this is like a basic old flip phone. It can't read emojis, nothing like that. And that's important for later in the story. My mom sent us with her cell phone because on my parents' like Apple account, they can track all of us where we're at because it's all under the same name or something. She just wanted to make sure that we were okay, which was really sweet of her. Except I didn't really know how to operate the thing that well. I knew how to make calls, but that was about it. So beforehand, Campbell and I were both a little nervous in different ways. I don't love flying and big planes, so I was nervous for that. Campbell was nervous for navigating the airport, but thankfully she wasn't nervous for the flight and I wasn't nervous about navigating the airport. Well, I should have been. We got on the plane, the flight went well, Campbell was fine, I was fine. Our parents helped us get to the security checkpoint. We got to the gate easily. I can't remember, but I feel like people weren't that nice to us on these flights. And not that we did anything wrong, they just were a little cranky. But on the way back, someone was really nice, so that was kind of cool. But we were scared, honestly. We were heading to St. Louis, which is a city. You know, we were going to be walking around. We didn't actually know what we were going to be doing. We just knew we'd be door knocking and making calls. So the flight went well. We landed, and I texted my mom that we were there. She then, in some way, texted me back that we were supposed to head in a certain direction from where we were. So she was obviously able to track us, like literally you can see a map of the airport and she could track where we were to help us get to where we were supposed to be. And me having the smartphone, and the smartphone being much smarter than my head apparently, I jokingly, because like it would make sense in conversation but it doesn't make sense in text, I texted her back like stalker with like a wink face, or like a face, an emoji that would have probably made sense if she had seen it. But she had the flip phone, so she didn't see it. All she saw that was that her teenage daughter just texted her the word stalker and this blank something. So anyways, we get off the plane. It's a big airport. It takes a while for us to get to where our bags are. In that amount of time, my mom saw that and thought we were being stalked or locked into the back of someone's trunk. So she starts calling the police, and my dad starts bombarding the phone with calls, but the phone was on silent and I didn't know how to turn the phone off silent. So he's sitting there, it's in my pocket, he's sitting there calling us like crazy, and I have no clue. And then we finally find our group, which was pretty easy to find where we were going. And I open up my phone to tell my parents that we found our group, and I saw my dad had called us about 7 times. His thought process was if somebody had us, that he wanted them to see that we were being called, that someone cared and someone knew something was going wrong. And then what I also didn't know was that my mom had called the police of the airport, and they were about to shut down the airport, not let anyone go in or out. Apparently they had maybe already done it. I don't know if they had. The people were still going in and out from what I could see. But I was told that they were not letting people in or out. So yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. But anyway, so I saw that he had called a million times and I panicked and I picked up the phone and he just said, "Where are you?" And I said, "We're with our group." And he's like, "Why did you do that?" Just, "Well, what did I do?" And he said, "You texted your mom stalker." And my heart sunk to my toes. I felt horrible, and it got worse. So he immediately called my mom to call the police that we were okay. So she was doing that, and he just said, "Why did you do that?" He said, "You can't do that." And I was nervous getting off the plane because it felt weird being so far away from my parents, and I didn't want them to think like that we were just completely ditching them, like, oh, we're going to have a good time. So I was trying to keep up like a jokey relationship, I guess, and it went wrong, and it was really not smart of me. So that's the whole point of the story, is be careful of what you text people, like really think through it. I don't joke much over texts anymore ever since then, because that scared the living daylights out of me. So he calls my mom, she tells the police that we're okay, and then she calls us. My dad like connects her to the call. She was like screaming down the phone. She was so upset. It's like, you know how parents talk about when you're terrified for your kid and then you actually find out that they're okay and it's like, oh, why did you do that? You're so mad. It was like that, and I don't blame her. I felt awful. I just kept saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." I didn't know what else to say. And my dad said, "Stop saying sorry." I'm like, so what do I say then? It was horrible. I felt Horrible. Campbell's just an innocent bystander this entire time. I felt awful. Anyways, so we kind of sorted it out. I guess at least they knew we were fine. They're like, okay, just go to your group, whatever. And then I accidentally butt dialed my mom. And she picked up the phone and I could tell she was angry. So I'm like, oh, sorry, I butt dialed you, and I hung up. But I didn't realize I hung up on her. So that made it even worse. If I had died that week, I wouldn't have been upset. I was so embarrassed. I was so humiliated and so upset that I had made my parents that scared and upset. I felt horrible. I kind of wanted to die. Not that I'm suicidal or anything, but I was just sick the entire week. My stomach was shot the entire week. So it was nice that we were walking so busy. So anyways, we came home, worked things out, and I learned my lesson the hard way. The rest of the week went okay. Like I said, I felt terrible, but we got done canvassing and it was really fun. It was a good week, a good experience. If you're part of HSLDA, I highly recommend sending your teenager to Generation Joshua. It's really, like I said, it's an encouragement to the people around the kids. And I think some people definitely went out and voted. I destroyed my left knee a while ago. I destroyed my right knee during this weekend. Or actually, was it a week? I think it was 5 days of walking. And so when you were walking around limping in a knee brace, people actually kind of listen to you. It's kind of crazy. It was really depressing sometimes to talk to a lot of people who just didn't care. They really just said, I don't care about politics. And if you're one of those people, just understand, I am not saying who you have to vote for or what you have to do, but it's a huge blessing in this country to be able to vote for what you believe in and to help be a part of making this country better and pointing it in the direction that you believe in. So please get out and vote whenever the next election is in, I think, November. Even for community elections and voting, please just don't take it lightly. We were willing to go into some dangerous areas just to encourage people to vote. It meant that much to us. So it was a great week. Overall, great experience, minus that. So that was just horrible, and I'll never live it down. It was bad. Anyways, that's my story. If you want to share any embarrassing stories in the comments, I'm open to it. Make me feel better, but you honestly don't have to. This is my choice. And I hope that someone learns from this to be extra careful with what you say, especially over text and social media and phone calls, just especially younger people. Please be so thoughtful about what you say, and never, ever, ever turn your phone on silent when you're away from your mom. Ever. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you next week. Bye! Oh, I completely forgot to drink my tea. Now I will proceed to drown my sorrows in peppermint tea.